Good morning. My name is Jordan Lake. I am a student of the practicum course at BYU, Idaho for communications, and this is the second public update regarding the Faces of Change booklet. And as a short summary for this project, it is simply the highlighting of the stories of incarcerated individuals who participate in the recovery programs offered by the Center for Hope in Idaho Falls, Idaho. Previously, I kind of shared the beginnings of the project and the overall course that this project was taking. However, in the last 6 or 7 days, the project as a whole has shifted in pretty significant ways that I will be sharing today. So previously, we had one booklet that was going to be submitted to the National Conference of Restorative Justice, and that still is the case. However, now we actually have two booklets that we're working on using some of the same research and stories, but they will serve two different purposes. And I find it interesting. This project kind of keeps expanding and getting bigger and bigger to include more moving pieces. And because of that, we've also added a couple of people to the team and to the project overall. So, in explanation for the National Conference of Restorative Justice, we are still submitting a proposal for a potential breakout room. However, that has been kind of shifted from the team that I'm part of to another work team. I'm still assisting with editing here and there. However, that has been shifted to other hands. What they're planning on doing now is they're trying to create a more narrative driven and urban focus for the project proposal. Whereas the projects we're working on, which I'll get into more detail in a couple minutes, is more focused on how the Center for Hope provides solutions to problems facing a community. So for the National Conference of Restorative Justice, that will still be submitted in on November 7th. However, I don't it's still kind of up in the air. We found out the exact requirements and criteria for the submission, and it doesn't require the booklet to be completely finished. I think the goal is to still have it completely polished and finished. However, we have since added a video portion to the Faces of Change project where we have been interviewing important employees and recovery coaches at the Center for Hope, as well as some of the individuals to make a approximately 5 minute video to include in the proposal for a breakout room at that conference. So that's the conference side of things. The aspect that I'm more focused on at the moment has been a second booklet centered on providing evidence of relevance to the Center for Hope for legislatures, public officials, and donors. The idea is that this secondary booklet is a is a resource that provides evidence and support for the Center for Hope, so that legislatures, when making decisions on budgets, when donors consider providing funds, they have this booklet that details their programs, and they can read the changes that have gone on in the lives of these individuals and how the Center for Hope and their programs impact them. So, excuse me, that is kind of the overall major focus. This is still a recent change, so we're still working out some of the cogs and details in this second booklet that now I and the student team are directly in charge of. So it's simply going to take a little bit of time. Now let me share my screen. In terms of just overall details, um, I there isn't like tons of huge grand changes. The major focus is that we've now edited almost every transcript of every interview that we've gotten so far for clarity and voice. There will still, of course, have to be edits for what will actually be included in the booklets, but we now have just the pure stories edited to help the voice of the incarcerated individuals and recovery coaches be lifted above all else. And that was a pretty big feat. I think originally we had about 90 something pages before we cut it down, and now we're looking at about 55 pages after we removed some of the jargon, less important details, some of our, like the interviewers' words. So we've chopped it down a little bit. We've got about 16 stories in total, and then we have interviews with four or three recovery coaches and Nancy, the director of the Center for Hope. So things are coming along. One thing we did recently is so I got the photos from last time, but we also did a photo shoot of urban areas in eastern Idaho to provide context because one of the major focuses for both the National Conference of Restorative Justice and the secondary book that offers evidence of relevance is showing that there are needs within a community and how the Center for Hope offers unique solutions in regards to restorative justice and the dimensions of wellness. So those are I suppose, major updates. I don't feel completely at liberty once again to share like stories specifically or photos specifically. I suppose we can share certain photos. As you can see, there's the shot list there for yet. We did that yesterday as of this recording. So like here's just some of the photos of the individuals. So those were some of the incarcerated individuals who have been gracious and been a part of this project. So anywho, that's the majority of the public update. Thank you guys very much for listening. I appreciate it. I guess that needs to be said. And then I hope everyone has a great day.